So usually to lift the veil, a lot of people realize, there needs to be this personal, happening. Oh, crap. Maybe you have a near-death experience. Maybe you have a brush with whatever disease, and it makes you kind of reassess everything. And that's on a personal level, right? And so you go, okay, shoot, I gotta rethink things. I gotta look around. What's really important? And I think that right now, instead of there being a personal event, this is a collective event that's under the same circumstance, meaning it's lifting the veil in the same way, but on a collective level. So instead of having one personal experience where you go, okay, I have to personally deal with this. Think about what's happening. It's so cool. We all get to collectively have this chance to have a similar sort of experience, but we get to have it with a bunch of other people on a mass scale. So we all get to collectively understand and grow together. We all get a chance to compare notes, and we're not isolated. We're not going, oh God, well, in some cases we are, because it's divided us. In some ways it's divided us into the side that says, okay, well, I don't believe any of this, so on and so forth. And then so we do have the two camps. But regardless, there are a lot more people, having this experience than not. And in that sense, you're not doing it alone. Like if you were to have this near-death experience, you would really have to reach out to a lot of different people before you found some others that maybe had the similar experience. Well, we're all having this now, and we're all having something we can connect with and ask each other, compare notes with. This is awesome. In a way, it's awesome. It's like, what other time period can you actually go and have such an experience that will lift the veil, lift your the veil of consciousness, and see things in new ways? And you're having it with a bunch of other people, and you're not only having it with a bunch of other people, you're able to connect with them from across the world. Imagine if we didn't have the internet and you realized how much of this stuff is going on, but you weren't able to connect with many other people around you. Think of all the neighborhoods we're in. You're not in that neighborhood because you're there because of like-minded people. You're there because of circumstances that brought you there. They put you there not because of your neighbors, but because here's a house or an apartment or what have you that you've got. And whoever your neighbors are an accident, and they really aren't necessarily going to be like-minded. Well, we get a chance to change all that through the internet and be able to have like-minded people that we connect with. Holy crap, that's cool. That's just the coolest thing ever. And on top of that, we get to have a circumstance that unites us together. That's just coolest. The coolest ever. And so if we can actually not wait for any of this to happen, not wait for it to be evenly distributed, take hold of it and be proactive. Look beyond the choices given to you, because those choices are what frame your reality. Break that frame and go for the infinite number of choices available instead. And pull other people along with you. Find those that are the similar mindset. And then, put out some ideas and have those ideas kind of hook other people. It's great. It's awesome. It's one of the best times to be alive in some ways. And it's like, why waste it by just sitting back and watching the show or eating the popcorn? Instead, it's a time to be engaged. It's in time to have these epiphanies and really just discussions with people and late night discussions and sitting down and being able to just, wow, finally, have many more people not think you're nuts because of the dots that you've connected. That's just wildly cool. So instead of waiting or being disappointed that this or that didn't happen, that's a false dynamic. That's an externality. That's external. Instead, go with the internal, the epiphanies, the spiritual side, the connections you make with other people, and really strengthening that part. Let's say this big event happens. Well, it's not going to be like anybody thinks it's going to be. If you've learned anything during this time, it's that, okay, let's say they say, okay, this is going to happen and that is going to happen. It's not going to happen the way you think it is. It's just not. And so you're going to be disappointed. Instead of being disappointed that this or that didn't happen, go ahead and liberate yourself by making choices outside of the frame given to you. And, there's every reason to believe that, in fact, them saying this is going to happen or that's going to happen and then it not happening, well, that's actually good. You know, when they used to forge swords, it's like they would put them in the cold and the heat and the cold and the heat, and that process of forging would make the steel stronger, breaking it and then reforging it, breaking it, reforging it. I think in a sense, what we're going through right now is that forging process. We're seeing the breaking of our ideas, the breaking of our thought, oh, this is going to happen, no, it's not. And then we heal from that, and then it gets broken again, we heal from that. That's a forging process. The whole lifting the veil, reality being broken, and then having it be put back together, that's a forging process. And the steel is hardened. Your mindset, your resiliency, your ability to move forward, your ability to make sense of the world is hardened, but in a good way. It's flexible, but it's hard. Of course, you go back to the Japanese part of bamboo, it bends in the wind, but still, it's a bit of both. Japanese made supposedly some wicked swords, wicked steel, wicked like knives. And if all else fails, well, go for a walk in the woods. There's something rejuvenating about it, and certainly connecting with the earth, remembering that all is actually vibration in life. We've been led to believe that it's not, that we're this cold, hard planet, and all the resources are at our disposal. What garbage is that, right? I wonder if I should go barefoot. Wim Hof, right? Wim Hof, he does the cold baths. Go into the snow, go in some shorts, barefoot, walk through here. There's a hardening of resilience and spirit, right? So I wouldn't think of it as disappointments. I would think of it as a process. And I wouldn't think of it as like nothing's happening. I would say it's just not evenly distributed. We can't always know everything that's going down. And sometimes we won't know until the very end. And that shouldn't matter. What should matter is our ability to move forward and say, okay, well, what's the outcome I want anyway? And then move towards that outcome regardless. So I'm thinking that's more of a hopeful way to look at it. And not only hopeful, but you actually get and improve your life regardless. You move towards what you want regardless. Has this all been done before? Has our society, our species been wiped off the planet again and again in the collective merry-go-round, kind of like Sisyphus going and bringing the ball up and then it rolling down the hill? Are we that ball that's been rolled up to a certain height and then wiped out, only to roll the ball back up again? It's possible. Imagine that. Well, then it still goes back to it's a spiritual exercise. What are you going to learn from it? Hopefully something. And instead of just eating the popcorn and watching the show, or instead of just living to pay the bills, maybe there's something else. Or maybe not.